50 years has passed since the destruction of the Gateway. Imperial modernity prevails while the Necrons remain silent. Ultramarines garrisoned on the planet await their return. It is a post befitting guardsmen, but they dare not complain. Their duty is the price paid for failure. The human populace maintain their daily rites of faith in the belief the Emperor's divine power keeps the Necrons at bay. Each uneventful day is celebrated as a blessing from the God Emperor. The lava plains where the ancient ruins of the Thinit Dynasty stood is a Mechanicus waste ground. It is where our story will continue.
We are Votann. Our ancestor core brought us here. We walk in the footsteps of our ancestors. We toil with our bare hands. Look what they have done. The planet's Earth destroyed, then lost our ancestor core friend. Who will guard us if it stops working? Look what they've done. We've been manning here. Our core world depends. Imperial bastards. You leave the slumbering Necrons well alone. Let the xenophobic bastards lie. This ain't going to be easy. But it's kin. Prepare to land.
Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to play an adapted mission from a previous edition using 10e lore and rules. If that's not to your liking, then thank you for tuning in. But it's now time for you to book your one-way ticket to Fabius Biles' laboratory. There you will undergo a series of treatments you didn't pay for. Before I say let's move the narrative on, please do like and subscribe to our channel. I'm told by several Mechanicus cogitors that this will help grow the channel so more of you get to watch our free content. So let's move the narrative on from board 2 to board 3. 10e! Yay! The analytical engine, commonly known as an ancestor core, expected each generation of Votann of the Berwin League to walk once in their lifetime on Toonworld to achieve fame. On Toonworld, cloneskein of the Berwin League wielded mining tools with their bare hands. Mandrels, mallets, shovels, wedges, chisels and hammers to extract precious minerals and ore without awakening the Thinit Dynasty. Their mastery of each tool would either keep them alive or their lack of proficiency would be the price of failure. Death at the hands of the awakening Necrons. The collected ore would be offered to the ancestor core. Each offering increased the core's memory, protecting future generations of the Berwin League with the engine's analytical wisdom, more commonly known by them as Fane. Desolation filled the hearts and minds of the Votann as they translated into orbit of Toonworld. Their pilgrimage denied by Imperial impunity. The unfulfilled sought solace and guidance from their ancestor core. The unfulfilled were reminded by the analytical machine that Fane would be found through adversity. As soon as the gateway was destroyed, Guilliman's Fury left orbit, carrying pylon technology in its cargo hold. To reach Toonworld without the predations of the Great Bleed threatening the battle barge, the Ultramarines relied on the same pylon technology in their cargo bay, located across the system to safely translate in and out of the warp. Primaris Space Marines deemed worthy of further glory joined their battle brothers on board to deliver the Xenos technology to a space dock, repair and refitting station. There, tests would begin to fit the technology to Astartes battle barges to limit the effects of travelling through the Great Bleed. Dishonoured battle brothers, the survivors of the Gateway explosion on Tomb World, were left to garrison the planet. They were erased from existence as the task force left orbit. Inquisitor Bylock commanded the remaining Primaris Space Marines while overseeing the extraction of vital ore. He needed them to deter Mechanicus treachery because the rich vein of adamantium unearthed by the orbital bombardment and Gateway explosion could be used to further their projects in worship to the machine god. By an inquisitorial mandate, orbital traffic above Tomb World was limited to fetch and carry freighters transporting unearthed deposits of adamantium from the orbital blast site to the Odomitus project, where suits of Terminator armour were being manufactured for Primaris First Company veterans to face Hive Fleet Leviathan, the same material used by the Votann to increase their analytical engine's memory core. The destruction of the Gateway caused a chain reaction within the circuitry of the tomb, delaying reactivation. While canoptic constructs repaired destroyed power nodes integral to opening transdimensional gateways, Overlord Narmer Scientific Court admitted defeat. The transhuman cadavers did contain markers of Necron bioengineering, but that was never in doubt. Narmer Scientific Court created the human race as star matter made flesh to be consumed by the Votann, a plan rejected by the Silent King, who stripped them of their power and influence and personally oversaw Narmer's transformation to living metal. Narmer's hidden purpose for creating the human race was his desire to return the Necrontire to flesh. He understood the cost of necrodermis. His race would be consumed by xenophobia. Thankfully, examinations of the captured Primaris Space Marines proved the Scientific Court's collective desire to be greater than their base emotions was possible. Conscience transference to a transhuman host would enable the Thinit Dynasty to live a long and natural life rather than slowly die within their necrodermis bodies, forgetting who and what they were capable of before their flesh change. Corrupted by the warp, their transhuman hosts were tainted beyond repair. Narmer bitterly concluded that it was better to stay as they were than face the predations of the dark gods, a long relenting agony that would follow them in death. His life's work to save the Necrontire race was a failure.
Erase.
His ancestors' ruins destroyed.
Begin.
His tomb threatened by Mechanicus mining.
Annihilate.
Narrative tactics.
As you can see, there are 4 war zones on this battlefield. From experience of playing narrative battles where you have one attacker and one defender, often the attacker finds it difficult to break through the first war zone, and the defender often finds themselves waiting for the enemy to arrive late in later turns. So to prevent that, I'm going to think narratively about the Necron units deployed. If they are a flyer, they're going to be able to deploy up to Zone 3. If any fast attack units deploy, well, they can deploy from Zone 2. Any Necron unit on foot, a heavy support, or a super heavy, they will have to deploy from Zone 1. Elites are a little bit different. and I will look at each elite choice taken in the army and tell you where I've deployed them, thinking narratively about the way in which they move. By doing so, we're going to have that clear thrust forward of the Necrons trying to reach the bunkers in Zone 4. And it will hopefully prevent that delay caused by a single zone being used as deployment. Now, if that's not to your liking, just remember that this is a narrative battle using 10th edition rules. In this terrain schematic, we're going to look at the features of the board to understand how they're going to have an impact on the game, but also make links narratively to the reasons why I have positioned certain units of the Votann defenders next to terrain in each war zone. The scars of the destruction caused by Guilliman's fury can still be seen in this overhead shot. Any infantry unit standing in the craters and rubble will receive the benefits of cover. Fuel pipes and purpose-made defence lines, albeit some of them are broken, are going to make perfect positions for the Votann to defend against the advancing Necrons. As long as they are within 3 inches and it obscures them from at least one of their attackers of either of those terrain pieces, they will be able to claim the benefits of cover so long as at least one attacker cannot see the entire unit. It's great for charging too, because it extends the engagement range from 1 inch to 2 inches, particularly useful when enemy models are standing between a pipe or a barricade. Debris across the battlefield is going to limit visibility in the form of stalagmites, furnaces, chimneys, and the lone statue, all of which will provide the Votann with the benefits of cover. The battlefield is littered with the shattered remains of industrial complexes, and I'm in no doubt the Votann will seek shelter from the enemy within these husks. From the ruins of these industrial complexes, there are, unfortunately, limited opportunities to use plunging fire. I'm not being disparaging about the height of the Votann, nor am I expecting any Ultramarines to play the Legolas role by throwing Gimli into the air so he can reach the limited platforms within these buildings. There are, however, 3 industrial platforms which the Votann can use to position themselves at a higher point on the battlefield so that they can use plunging fire to make it easier to kill the advancing Necrons. These can be reached thanks to the ladders remaining intact. I wonder if a Votann has to undergo health and safety training to use ladders. Anyway, moving on. 2 sealed communication buildings in Zone 4 may prove useful to the Necrons because they will limit the visibility of the defenders inside the mountain bunkers. As I speak, the Necron tomb is calculating the kill count required to liberate Tomb World. Lord Narmer of the Thinit Dynasty has ordered the annihilation of all enemy forces on Tomb World, crushing them entirely in an all-out attack. The Ultramarine Garrison and Votann are badly outnumbered and must sell their forces dearly to blunt the attack, taking as many of the enemy with them as possible. To win the Metal Grinder mission, the Necrons must annihilate the Ultramarine and Votann defenders. The Necrons will win the battle if, at the end of the game, the defender has no forces left. Squabbles between Imperial superiority and Votann belligerents
prevented a coordinated defence, resulting in a U-shaped deployment.
Imperium ownership of the extracted adamantium isn't in doubt. We will, however, Carl Berwin provide compensation.
Imperial arrogance never stops. Give it a rest, will you?
We must set aside our differences.
Didn't you hear me?
Face our common enemy.
You need us more than we need you. Just admit it. Emperor got your tongue.
In this finale, each army is circa 4,500 points. The Necrons have an overwhelming superiority in numbers, with wave upon wave of battle line units hurling themselves forward. The tomb has fully activated after 50 years of repairs caused by the Ultramarine destruction of the gateway in Part 2. To represent the size of an attack like this, the Necrons have the sustained attack special rule, where they can recycle their battle line units when they are destroyed. Recycled units are brought back into play to represent the almost limitless supply of reinforcements from the tomb. All battle line units that are wiped out move on from the Necron's board edge in Warzone 1. Any battle line units which fail a battle shock test or depleted by 50% of their original strength will immediately be taken off the board and redeployed to represent the endless wall of living metal intent on reclaiming their homeworld back. Night Scythes and Ghost Arcs cannot be recycled. Because of the lack of coordination between the bickering defenders, the Thinit Dynasty has deployed in a spear tip formation and counts as moving in the first turn. Narratively, I want the defenders to feel overwhelmed by the reactivation of the tomb. As long as the defenders remain stationary, they have unlimited access to firing Overwatch to represent a hail of wildfire fired by the defenders to drive the wall of living metal back. That's why the mission is called Metal Grinder.
Thinking narratively, the first shots fired on this battlefield were in Zone 3, where the Flyers, the Doom Scythe and Night Scythes, as well as the Tomb Blades and the Void Dragon, made contact with the Ultramarine and Votann defenders. So we're going to start with the Doom Scythe's heavy death ray. It gets 3 attacks with this, with the possibility of sustained hits on 6s. Let's see what happens. The death ray needs 3s to hit. 2 of those are going to be sustained hits. Gives D3 additional hits. So here we get 3 additional hits. The dice in place. How many do we get here? So in total, we've just received 4 additional hits. Ouch. 3s to wound. That's all of them. The Hecatan Land Fortress needs a 6 to save each one of these wounds. They cause D6 plus 1 damage. Narratively, I don't think this battle could have started any better than this, with, I hope, an explosion to rattle the Votann and even maybe cause the Ultramarines to twitch a little bit. I hope they twitch a lot, but let's see what happens. So we need a 6. No. D6 plus 1. So 2 damage so far. Come on. Next one. No. Much better. 6 damage caused so far with that attack, plus with plus 2, so 8 damage so far. Uh-oh, this is looking good. Again, 7 damage caused. So in total we've caused 15 damage. No pressure, but the Hecaton land fortress needs to make 4 consecutive saves of 6. No. So whatever happens, it is destroyed. Let's see. Wowzers. I'm going to finish off. Having scored 21 wounds already, let's see what would have happened with these. So it saved that one, so there'd be no additional damage. Failed that one for 3, so far it's done 24 points of damage. And this one fails that one. Oh, I'm liking this a lot. For a further 6, so it caused 30 points of damage, 30 wounds. Now, because of deadly demise, does the Hecaton fortress explode? Come on, explode on a 6. Yes! Woohoo! What a start! An explosion with the first shot fired in Warzone 3 and on this battlefield as a whole. What a statement made by the Thinit Dynasty. They want to free their world of the Ultramarines and Votann invaders. The enormity of the dice roll I've just made has suddenly dawned on me, because not only has the explosion caused damage to the Votann, the explosion is also going to cause significant damage to the 2 Night Scythes and the Tomb Blades. So let's get those resolved. Narratively thinking, I would imagine that the Necrons are the happiest, because the explosion caused is going to help them eliminate other Votann from 3 units. So let's start with the Thunderkin. We need a d6. So one of the Thunderkin is dead, and so that kill count, and it's growing. The Pioneers, how many go? 2 Pioneers are dead. And how many mortal wounds are taken from the Hearthkin Warriors? Let's see. Oh my. That's 6 gone from that unit. Gonna have some battle shock rolls to roll in there. Command phase. Eek. What damage is caused to the Night Scythe? 1 mortal wound. The second Night Scythe. 2 mortal wounds. Wow. This gets even better. And to the Tomb Blades. 3 mortal wounds. Killing 1 Tomb Blade and wounded another. As intended, the Doom Scythe's Twin Tesla Destructor, as well as the Night Scythe's same weapon, are going to fire at the Pioneers. Before I do that, the Eye of the Ancestors is firmly placed on that Doom Scythe for destroying the land fortress. So the Doom Scythe is going to fire its Twin Tesla Destructor at the Pioneers. The Pioneers do not receive the benefits of cover. 1, because the Doom Scythe can see the entire unit, and 2nd, because they have a 3-off armor save, and this weapon has no AP anyway. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but I'm trying to learn as I go. So let's see how many hits I get. We've got some sustained hits, which is really good. Well, 1 sustained hit, so that one becomes a hit again. So we've actually hit 7 times. These are strength 7. Against toughness 6, we need 3s. Fantastic. We don't need to use twin linked because they've all wounded. And even though these are just 3-up saves, they cause 2 damage. So I would imagine at least one of the pioneers will be destroyed. Let's hope. Correct? There you are. 1 pioneer dead. The Night Scythe firing its twin Tesla destructor, its sustained hits and twin linked. Right, so that one becomes a hit for that and that there. Fantastic. And then let's see what happens. We need freeze. We can reroll those 2 thanks to twin linked. One of them has been successful. So again, we have 6 saves to make. Can we do it? Again, another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites. Because the tomb blades are equipped with nebula scopes, it means they're going to ignore cover, which is significant because the Hearthkin warriors who they're firing at inside the trench are not going to get that +1 to their armor save. So we're firing Twin Gauze blasters. Any 6s to hit are lethal hits, so they automatically wound, and we'll be able to re-roll any failed wound rolls because of twin linked. So let's get that done, shall we? Okay, wow. So we've got 4 automatic wounds because of lethal hits. These are strength 5 against toughness 5. We're going to need 4s. So in total we have hit and wounded 5 times. These are -1, so we need 5 ups. Will that kill count go up again? It does by 4. Just received a transmission from the VAR saying that I have forgotten to roll the re-roll for twin linked. So in fact we have wounded 7 times. So let's resolve those 2. It's always handy to have a VAR while playing. So in total they have lost 6. The surviving Votann witnessed the destruction of the remaining pioneer. The eye of the ancestors is squarely staring at those tomb blades. A judgment token has been placed next to them, ready for their turn of shooting. The Void Dragon carrying its spear is going to fire at the second Hecaton land fortress. We need a 2-up hit because the spear is anti-vehicle. We need 2-up again. It wounds. The Hecaton land fortress has a 2-up armor save, but because it's -3, it needs 5 and saves it. Well done. Nice to see the tables being turned on the Star God. However, it's now got its Voltaic Storm, which is a blast weapon against the Thunderkin, but because the Thunderkin have taken a casualty, I will not get a +1 attack with it being blast because there's only 4 models left. So therefore I just need to roll d6 and I get 6 attacks with this. It's d6 +3. I'm going to need 2s to wound, 2s to hit, sorry, beg your pardon. I get 2 additional attacks there because it's sustained, hits 2. I'm going to need strength 7 against toughness 5. I'm going to need toughness 6, sorry, I'm going to need 3s. So in total, I have caused 5 wounds. These are only -1, so it's going to be 4 ups. However, they do get the benefits of cover, being on the platform, so it's +1 on their dice, so really 3s will be fine. Each one of these causes 2 damage. One of the Thunderkin dies. We enter Warzone 2. The Votann and Ultramarine defenders have witnessed the Necrons zoom by them. They're unable to react in time, but they're now ready and they're now able to use any counter stratagems in the shooting phase against the Locust Destroyers and the Ghost Arcs. We're very limited to firepower, the Necrons, in this sector of the battlefield. It's very close combat. You might be thinking, why have I positioned the Locust Warriors in Warzone 2 rather than Warzone 1? Narratively, it makes sense to do so because the Locust Destroyers rely on speed and their firepower to target the first enemy they encounter, which in this battle is the Hearthkin Warriors. The Hearthkin Warriors are going to use a counter stratagem called Void Armor. As you already know from the narrative, the Votann are here to extract adamantium. Clearly those Hearthkin Warriors have found a great bounty of it and have used some of the adamantium to supplement their armor, meaning that the Gauze cannons used by the Locust Destroyers are reduced in AP by 1. Any 6s that the Destroyers hit on are lethal hits and will automatically wound. So let's get the ball rolling. Or the dice. So as you can see, we've got 3 lethal hits. Automatic wounds they are. Put them to one side. Can you see any misses? Point them out to me. Thank you. Very kind. I've got to resolve these 8 wounds. These are strength 6. No, strength 5, sorry, against toughness 5. So I need 4s. Not bad at all. They're not twin linked, so I can't re-roll. So in total, I have caused 9, I believe. Yes, 9 wounds, so 50% of hit and wounded. Now, the Hearthkin Warriors are in the trench, so they get the benefits of cover. So they would get a +1 on their dice roll to save anyway. So they would normally need a 5, but because of their void armor, they need 4s. Each one of these causes 2 damage. And I need to make 9 rolls in total. Let's get that done, shall we, Gary? There we are. So in total, we lose 3 Hearthkin Warriors. That tally is going up. We now enter Warzone 1, where we've got a significant amount of firepower to unleash against the Votann as well as the Ultramarines. So let's get started. The monolith is firing its 4 death rays at the Redemptor Dreadnought in Warzone 1. In the same way as the Doom Scythe, any 6s will become D3 sustained hits. So that's 2. Crikey. Wowzers. Let's roll those then. We get 1 additional hit here. 3 additional hits. Ugh. Crikey. This is too good to be true.
It's strength 12 against toughness 10. We need 3s. So in total, we have wounded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same way as I did before, I will roll the individual saving throws for each one. The Redemptor needs a 6 to save because the AP is -4. So this one here is D6 plus 1. So it would be take away 1 from the dice because of Wisdom of the Ancients, or Duty Eternal, sorry, beg your pardon, Duty Eternal. But add 1, so it's going to be 2. So in short, it's just best not to add the +1. Doesn't save, so it's another D6 damage. Okay, so just 1 damage so far. Doesn't save. So far 5 damage. It saved 1. Doesn't save. So now we've done 10. It needs 2 more. It's got to save these 2 really to survive. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. No. That's 2, 3, 5, 10, 12. It's destroyed. Let's see what happens. Doesn't save that one. The Redemptor Dreadnought. Does it explode? No, it doesn't. It's not going to cause E3 mortal wounds. The units within 6 inches of it. Ooh. These death 22 saves are 3 up. Every 2 fails kills an intercessor. So 1 dead. Overlord Narmer is leading the unit of 20 Necron warriors carrying Gore's Reapers. My will be done in this edition means I can use a single stratagem for free of charge once per battle round. So we're going to be using Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant to enable the Necron warriors to re-roll the wound roll. Now that usually would be at half range, but because Overlord Narmer is a part of that unit, it means they're going to be able to do that at full range. I'm going to have to measure to see how many of the Hearthguard I'm going to be able to hit, because the range of these weapons is only 12 inches. I think that's a decrease from the last edition. Yeah. So in that's pretty good. So in total then, out of the 20-man squad, 15 can hit. And with that re-roll, so in total we've got 15 Necron warriors firing their Gore's Reapers at the Hearthguard, one of which has already taken a wound from the atomizer beam of the Canoptic Reanimator. We're using the Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant, so we can re-roll the wound roll, which will probably counter the 5 Necrons who are unable to fire this turn. So we need 4s to hit. Yep, brilliant. Let's take away the 1s, and the 2s. Wow, look at those lethal hits. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ah. There we are. So in total we have made 6 lethal hits, and we've got 3, 6, 9, 10 other wounds to resolve. So let's see what happens, and these get a re-roll. So it's strength 4 against toughness 6. I'm going to need 5s.
Ugh. Well, there's 1, 2, 3. Got a reroll with these. 4, 5, 6, and that's not bad. So in total, I believe we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 wounds. These are AP -1, so 12 free ups. They do not receive the benefits of cover. So let's do that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Ooh. Ooh. These cause 1 damage each. So the weapon was strength 5, but it didn't matter. Still needed 3. Actually, yeah, would have needed 5s. Yeah, could have taken 6. So that's 1 dead. These have, the Hearthguard have 2 wounds. So that's 1 dead, 2 dead, and another 1 wounded. Oh, there as well. 3 dead, and another 1 wounded. Wow. Good shooting, Necrons. That kill count has gone up. We enter the charge phase with the Necrons falling behind already. Vorpek need 11 on the dice. Yes, they make it with a 7. So they are definitely in the rapes against the Hearthkin Warrior. And there you are. You can see the Votann at the entrance of the trench, holding his comms array, indicating to the 2 Sagittars to use Overwatch at the oncoming wraiths. There won't be any crossfire support between the Votann and the Ultramarines, particularly when you think about this Hecaton land fortress. Yes, the Void Dragon over there did fire at it, but it's unlikely to fire Overwatch to support the Ultramarines when it can be supporting the firing here to eliminate some wraiths to save its own kin. The Necron warriors are standing within a rocky crater. They're going to need to add an extra 2 inches to their charge roll, so they need a 9. They make it. I've been thinking narratively about Overwatch. As stated in the mission brief, all stationary defenders can use Overwatch freely. Now, looking at the stratagem, the when section, you can use Overwatch at the start of the charge and at the end of the charge move. How do I relate that narratively to this game? Well, the Void Dragon, as you can see, has just been overwatched by the intercessors because it's charging towards them. I would imagine that as they were firing their Overwatch shots at the Void Dragon, wounding it once, they would be communicating to
the supporting units around them to do the same, which is going to happen now at the end of the Void Dragon's movement. And finally, does the Shattered Star Guard get into combat with the third squad of intercessors. Vorpek need 11 on the dice. Piling in, there are 4 Skorpek warriors in base-to-base combat with the Hearth Guard. Because of Oathband Bodyguard, we have to reduce their damage by 1. So the Skorpek Hyperphase weapons are only going to be damage 1. Because of Whirling Onslaught, I can ignore all weapon skill modifiers, but that's not in effect here. I am, however, going to use Plasma Sight, use one of the Plasma Sights to try and mitigate the loss of damage, because that gives their Skorpek Hyperphase weapons devastating wounds. So on rolls of 6s, they are automatic mortal wounds. We need 3s to hit. Ouch. 1 mortal wound, 2 mortal wounds, 3 mortal wounds, 4 mortal wounds, 5 mortal wounds, 6 mortal wounds, 7 mortal wounds. So 3 of the Hearth Guard are automatically dead. 1 has 1 wound left. Let's see if we can finish him off with these hits. Wowzers, these are strength 7 against toughness 6. So we have 2 wounds. These are AP -2. They get a 4-up invulnerable save. Well, it's equal. So let's see what happens. All 4 are dead. We have the 5 wraiths surrounding the 3 remaining Hellblasters. 2 of their number were vaporized by their own weaponry while trying to overwatch. We need 4s to hit with their Fisher's Claws, and they get 4 attacks each. So let's just remove the misses. Okay. In total then we have hit 11 times. We now need strength 5 against toughness 4. We need 3s. So in total we have wounded the Hellblasters 8 times. Each failed saving throw is going to be the cause a further Hellblaster to leave the battlefield dead. Let's see what happens. So in total, the unit is gone. Crikey. Not looking good at all. Carl Berwin is a kindred hero of the Hearth Guard who protect him. Their fraternity is very much under threat right now by the wall of living metal approaching them. He's going to use his Forge Warped Plasma Sword in an attempt to thin the number of Necrons approaching by using the counter-offensive stratagem. So he gets 4 attacks needing 2s. He's hit 4 times. These are strength 5 against toughness 4. We need 3s. He wounds 3 times. These are AP -2. So the warriors need 6s. 1 saved, 2 die. The remaining Hearthguard, the remaining chosen few of Carl Berwin, have 6 attacks with their plasma blade gauntlets. They need 3s to hit. Any 6s are lethal hits and automatically wound. The reason why they get lethal hits is because their kindred hero is Carl Berwin. There's a fraternity between them, stronger than brotherhood. So 2 lethal hits, automatic wounds. We have 3 to resolve. These are strength 6 against toughness 4. We need 3s. So in total, we have 5 saves to make. These are AP -2, so we need 6s. All 5 warriors are dead, so in total they have lost 7 warriors out of 20, pushing those Necrons back. The 17 Necron warriors carrying Gore's flayers were unsuccessful in their attempt to remove the 2 squads of intercessors from the trench in Warzone 1. It's now time for the intercessors to hit back against that wall of living metal. To my surprise, they have a close combat weapon, and that gives them 3 attacks each. So we have 27 attacks in total. We're hitting on 3s. They are strength 4, no AP. Okay, remove the misses. I should imagine that's due to the height advantage the Necrons have at the moment. Been at the top of the trench. Finally, there we are. There we go. So in total we've hit 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 times. Could have been better. Oh, 15, sorry. Now then, we need 4s. Okay. For the Emperor. Wow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 wounds made, 8, 4, no, sorry, 9. 9. This bar here, which you can just see, if you ever, when I used to go to Anfield a lot with the old stadium, if you was ever standing or sitting and you had the unfortunate position of being next to one of the concrete posts holding the stadium up, you couldn't see some of the game, and that's what happened now. I couldn't see that dice. Got there in the end. So, for my explanation, there we are. So, altogether, 9 saves of 4 up. This unit could be leaving the board. If it's reduced to half, which is not going to be the case, I'm afraid. Okay. So we lose a further 4 bringing that unit down to 13. We enter turn 1 for the defenders, and wherever you look, it's not looking great for the Ultramarines or the Votann defenders. As I said to you in the explanation, I wanted the defenders to feel overwhelmed, coupled with the fact that they are not coordinating their defence together. They are very much fighting independent battles on this battlefield. Because of that, I am going to do a roll off to see which of the defenders is going to go first. If the Ultramarines win the roll, Lieutenant Claudius, who survived the blast in part 2, will receive a judgment token. I do feel for Lieutenant Claudius. He survived the blast, was successful with the destruction of the gateway, but did not receive the honour of returning to his chapter, and instead has been abandoned to garrison this tomb world, and rather than having the command himself, has to defer to Inquisitor Bylock. Not great for Claudius, really. So we better do that roll off. So the black dice is for the Votann, the cream dice is for the Ultramarines. So let's see who's going to go first. It is going to be the Ultramarines. Narratively, the Ultramarines would be saying, well, that's obvious. We're genetically superior to these cloneskein Votann. For the Votann, it's going to cause further frustration and judgment on the Ultramarines, meaning Claudius receives a judgment token. So Claudius is going to receive, Lieutenant Claudius is going to receive a judgment token from the Votann, which at the moment will have no significance to the game, but may do so closer he gets to the Votann. Pay attention to that one, everyone. Let's see what happens there.
We just look at the battle board from the Ultramarines perspective. Lieutenant Claudius has some important decisions to make regarding which combat doctrine to order, as well as deciding where the Oath of Moment is going to be placed. The Void Dragon currently is surrounded by 3 units which, with their collective firepower, could have the potential of destroying the Void Dragon, shattering that Star Guard further. However, I am going to place Oath of Moment onto the Ghost Ark closest to the Ultramarines, because in turn 2 the warriors are going to disembark and create a phalanx of living metal which will close in on the Ultramarines here, preventing them from breaking out if necessary, and rely on the genetic superiority of the Astartes to do their job in bringing down the Void Dragon without any assistance. We then have to consider, sorry about the wobbly camera there, we then have to consider which tactical doctrine we're going to go into. Well, I've given it away there, haven't I? We're going to use the tactical doctrine because you've got 1 unit in combat here, or 2, Tech Marine, as well as the Dreadnought, and the 2 units of intercessors. We're going to go into the tactical doctrine so that they can withdraw and fire at those warriors. And the Redemptor will obviously target the wraiths and will receive some repair work from the Tech Priest to raise its hit points. You live to regret your decisions in playing 40k. Let's see what happens here. With there being 4 units in combat, Lieutenant Claudius is going to order for the tactical doctrine to be executed so that each unit can fall back and fire at the Necrons who foolishly charged their defensive positions. I am beginning to regret my decision to use Oath of Moment on the Ghost Ark, because the Gladiator Valiant is going to have to concentrate its fire on the skimmer in order to bring it down, and in doing so leaves the Hellblasters and Fire Strike servo turrets to try to eliminate a Star Guard. Let's see what happens. So we have the Twin Las Talon, 2 attacks. We need freeze to hit. Oath of Moment, we can re-roll the hit roll. Hits twice. These are strength 10 against toughness 9. We need freeze. They both wound, so we didn't need to re-roll at all. And with it being twin linked, I suppose the re-roll would come in handy with the Melter 2 profile, I'd hope. So we've wounded twice. These are AP minus 3. They cause D6 plus 1 wounds. It's going to have to be its 4-up invulnerable save. Let's get 2 Necron dice to do that. There we are. Let's see what happens. Let's do them individually. Saves 1. Saves the second. What about the multi-melter, which is now in half range? So need a 3 to hit. In fact, how many shots do we get, Gary? Tell them, Gary, tell them. We get 2 shots with each multi-melter, which is good. These are strength 10. So they'll need freeze to wound. And they have a Melter 2 profile, so we're adding 2 to the D6 damage. We've hit 4 times. How many times do we wound? Let's see. Reroll. So we've now wounded a further 4 times. Let's do these individually for drama. We're exploding the moment. Let's see. Saves 1. Saves 2. Saves 3. It cannot be destroyed. And saves 4. Crikey. The Fire Strike servo turret then is going to use its autocannon against the shattered form of the Void Dragon. Let's see what happens. Hits 3 times. These are twin linked. Strength 9 against toughness think it's 14. Let's turn the card over. My apologies. No, it's toughness 11, Gary. Get a grip. Doesn't wound at all, but it's twin linked, so we need 5s. We wound once. It's AP -1. So 4 up invulnerable. It does cause 3 damage. Saves. Let's do it on their full blast, because narratively that makes sense, doesn't it? If you've got a god, albeit a shattered one in front of you, you would, well, I would be shatting my pants, but you would be firing your plasma incinerator at full blast to try and save yourself. So let's do it. And you know what? They certainly have made an effort. That's the dice roll we need for the wounds. Okay, let's see what happens. We need 5s. Not bad. Not bad at all. You'd only expect 2, really. The 3 have wounded. These are 4 up invulnerables because of AP -2. But then again, AP -1, it would still be a 4 up invulnerable. Not much difference between the profile. The reason why I was doing an RO is because of Necrodermis halving the damage. Anyway, narratively, you would supercharge. So it saves that one. Saves that one. Loses a wound. Due to their limited number, it's desperate times for the Eradicators. They have 2 large Necron constructs in front of them. They could either focus their fire on one, knowing they will be killed by the other. Therefore, we're going to split fire. 2 shots at the Canoptech Doomstalker, and we're going to fire 4 melter rifles at the monolith. These have total obliteration, so they can re-roll the hit roll, wound roll, and damage roll. That's something, but they're going to need 5s to wound the monolith, and they're going to need 3s to wound the Doomstalker. So I hope I've got the proportions right. Let's see. We'll roll them all together. Need 3s to hit. Total obliteration means we can re-roll. I'm glad we can do that because the Canoptic Doomstalker wouldn't have been hit and still hasn't been hit. Crikey. Okay, let's put those to one side. We need 5s. Total obliteration, can re-roll 3 of them. Oh, look at that beauty. Fantastic news. Fantastic. Okay. They have stood still. They would have got +1. So those 2s would have been hits for the melter rifle firing at the Doom Stalker. Before we resolve the damage on these, I'm going to have to refer to the VAR. VAR has confirmed that I hit twice when I first rolled the dice for the Eradicator firing at the Canoptech Doomstalker. 2s would have been misses, but the melter rifle has the heavy profile. They've stood still, +1 to hit. So I've got these to resolve. We need 3s to wound. Both of them wound. I'm going to need to check to see if we are in half range to decide whether they are +2 or not. So let's go and get that done. The melter rifle isn't in half range, so let's explode the moment by rolling these dice individually to see what occurs. Okay, I sound Welsh. Let's see what happens. So, the monolith has a 2-up armor save, doesn't have an invulnerable save, and the AP of these is -4. So this is going to hurt. Let's see. Or did I miss the tray? Let's see. Fails. D6 damage. Causes 4. Remember, I can re-roll the damage dice. Fails. What's the damage? What's occurring? I am going to re-roll the damage dice for that one. I'm glad I did. 8 damage caused so far. It's unlikely it's going to be destroyed. 8 damage taken so far. Let's see what happens with this armor save. Fails again. D6 damage. Gonna re-roll the damage. So far it's taken 11 wounds. This is not good for the monolith. Fails again, but cannot be destroyed. But could be reduced to its final 7 wounds. Takes 5 damage, so in total 16 points of damage have been caused. I now have to subtract 1 from the hit rolls because it only has 4 wounds left. Good shooting, Eradicators. Well done. So the Canoptic Reanimator has a 4-up invulnerable save. Let's see what happens. Fails the first one. D6 damage. Rolls a 1. Rolls 5. It has 7 left. Okay, does it save with the second shot? It doesn't. Oh my goodness me. I'm going to re-roll it. Okay, so it's caused 8 wounds. It's on 4 wounds. Again, got to subtract 1 from its hit rolls. The intercessors in Warzone 1 have repelled the first wave of Necron warriors who are now at half strength and will be removed from the board using the Metal Grinder rules. Left exposed by the failure of the first wave to annihilate these Ultramarine intercessors who did such a great job at repelling the wall of living metal. The Royal Warden is now exposed. So these intercessors are going to charge into him. The Primaris Tech Priest is going to deliver the Omasiah's vengeance onto these wraiths, having watched the destruction of the Redemptor Dreadnought. The Redemptor Dreadnought, who has received the blessings of the Omasiah from the Tech Priest, will support that charge. The Assault Intercessors and the Lieutenant, having failed with Oath of Moment in the shooting phase, are going to try and hack away at that Ghost Ark, and in doing so prevent the warriors from disembarking in this zone here to try and control this side of the board. There's nothing we can do right now against this Star Guard who survived all that shooting. The Assault Intercessors
have charged into the Ghost Ark. Because of Shock Assault, they're going to be able to re-roll wound rolls of 1. Because of Oath of Moment, they'll also be able to re-roll any other wound roll. I am going to use a stratagem called Honour the Chapter, which gives them the Lance ability, increasing their ability to wound by +1. They're going to need 6s to wound anyway, but now they're going to need 5s. Let's see what happens. Hitting on 3s. Can re-roll because of Oath of Moment. If you're watching this from the UK, I'm not going to sing Martin McCutcheon's song. This is my Oath of Moment with you. Oh, so we've actually hit 11 times. We now need 5s to wound. I didn't do that, honestly. This is my Oath of Moment with you. Right, wowzers. So, we have wounded so far 6 times. We can re-roll because of Oath of Moment and Shock Assault. I suppose 1 would be enough, one of those rules. Well, 2 more wounds. So in total, we have wounded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These are Astartes chainswords and they are AP -1. The Ghost Ark has a 3-up save, or it's 4-up invulnerable. I will roll these all together. There we are. So let's see if this is a perfect moment. I hope so. Wow. So 50% of them failed to save. The Ghost Ark has taken 4 wounds, reducing it to 10. You know the motto of the channel, mistakes will be made. The lieutenant gives his unit tactical precision. Therefore, they receive the lethal hits special rule. So the 2 6s rolled to hit would have been critical hit and automatically wound. I'll remember that next time. Let's move on to the Primaris Lieutenant. And they say cognitive overload would be removed from 10th edition. It probably is, actually. Trying to play 3 armies at once doesn't help. Okay, to tell a story though, I'm telling a story. I want to tell this story. I'm really enjoying this. I apologise that it takes time to get it all to you. Righto, let's do his attacks. He gets 5 attacks with his mastercrafted power weapon. I don't know what makes it mastercrafted anymore, because it doesn't seem to be able to re-roll them, hit roll with a mastercrafted. Is there any additional? Nope, it's not a key rule word. So let's roll, shall we? He hits 4 times, but because of Oath of Moment, he hits 5 times. He still gets Honour the Chapter as well, so the Lance are +1 to wound, so he needs 5s. He's wounded 3 times so far. Oath of Moment. He's actually wounded all 5 times. Blooming heck. I'm not singing Martin McCutcheon. I think it helped though. This is my Oath of Moment with you. So these are AP -2. So it would need 5, so it's going to have to rely on its 4-up invulnerable. Let's roll them individually. This very much feels like an explode in the moment, where I'm going to slow down the dice rolls a little bit for narrative effect. The Assault Intercessors have already caused 4 damage. to the Ghost Ark, the lieutenant who, with his battle brothers, was abandoned on this planet for their past failures to deal with the Necrons, has hit 5 times and wounded 5 times. The Ghost Ark has 10 wounds. These cause 2 damage. They are AP -2, so it would need a 5 up save. It's going to use its invulnerable save. Each one of these, if it fails all of these, it will be destroyed. Could be significant in War Zone 2. Fails, takes 2 damage. The Ghost Ark now has taken 6 points of damage. Fails, 8 points of damage. Let's see what happens. Fails again, 10 points of damage. Ghost Ark now has 4 wounds left. It's carrying 10 Necron warriors. Let's see what happens. Fails. Ghost Ark really needs to survive this oath of moment. And doesn't. Oh, crikey. The Ghost Ark is destroyed. Deadly Demise comes into play on the roll of Votann on a 6. Warriors now have to try and extricate themselves from the ruined port, starboard and stern of the Ghost Ark. Any rolls of 1, they're going to cause 1 mortal wound to them, and that will kill a warrior, and they are battle shocked. Or the survivors will be, not the dead ones, of course. So in total, wowzers, this only gets better. 4 the Ultramarines, 4 in total have been killed. The remaining 6 are battle shocked.
Having made a desperate escape, losing 4 Necron warriors to do so, I'm going to keep these Necron warriors on the board, even though they are battle shocked, which gives me the option to remove them as destroyed, because I do not want to lose the possibility of that unit holding up the assault intercessors. They're not going to cause lots of damage, but they will hold them up, because of course the assault intercessors are going to consolidate 3 inches forward. If the Votann are going to survive this battle and be victorious in doing so, War Zone 2 is vital.
We've reached the end of the Votann's command phase, and what I didn't tell you was that Carl Berwin placed Ruthless Efficiency on the Necron warriors, acting as a bodyguard for the Overlord. So far, the Necron warriors have lost 7 out of 20. I want to activate their reanimation protocols now, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with the Mars Resurrection Orb. The great thing is that they are in the range of the Reanimator, who will give them an additional D3 warriors returning. So let's see with the initial roll how many I get back. D3 plus 3. So in total I get 6 back.
The reanimator gives me D3. There's only 7 dead, but I'm still going to roll it. So in total, I get all 7 Necron warriors back, making it much more harder for them to achieve ruthless efficiency. This battle now is all about survival, and Warzone 2 is the best opportunity the Votann have to do so. If any survive this battle, they can call reinforcements to counter the reactivation of the tomb, and that's why it's so vital for the Necrons to destroy what's in front of them, to stop that call for help. The Hurkin warriors are going to make an ordered retreat so that they can fire at the Canoptic Wraiths. The Chthonian berserkers are going to disembark and hopefully charge into the Necron warriors here to support Karl Berwin. The second squad of Chthonian berserkers are going to disembark and charge the Locust destroyers. The Pioneers are going to move in this direction and try and take advantage of the judgment tokens by taking out, I hope, the Tomb Blades here. Everything else will stand still. Sometimes you just have to accept losses where you can't control the battle board. And there you have it. The Votann doing their best in Warzone 2 to create a stronghold in which the Necrons will not be able to break. And if you look across the board, the lines of the Necrons are thinning. Yes, some units haven't entered the battlefield yet. But as the turns progress, Necrons are going to continue to take damage. Every time they lose a battle line unit, they have to start here. And you know Necrons don't move that quickly. So it's going to be vital that they survive, and therefore really important that the Votann take advantage of that and destroy as many of the units they can as possible. I did think about, well, okay, they survive, they're still overwhelmed by the reopening of the reactivation of the tomb. But that doesn't matter really, does it? Because if the Votann survive, as you can see, what Karl Berwin has attempted to do is to slow down the Necrons by creating a shield around some of the units. So, we really need to remove those wraiths. Because of their fly keyword, if they fly over any enemy units, they cause mortal wounds due to their wraith form. So, we're going to use the Grimm's Ancestral Wrath, using its focus Witchfire profile of 6 attacks. We need 2s to hit. So we hit 4 times. You will notice that I'm now using my Votann dice because
The Votann weren't very happy that I was using the same dice as the Ultramarines. But there you have it. So we've hit 4 times. I didn't want to strike on my hands. They're strength 6 against toughness 6. We're going to need 4s. We've wounded twice. These are AP -2. So it's going to be the Wraith form save, invulnerable save. So we save 1, but lose D3 mortal wounds. We lose 2 mortal wounds, putting one of the Wraiths on 1 wound. So the Hearthkin warriors that I might have been calling Hearthguard warriors, depends on which sector in the core world you're in to what they're called. Let's just say that instead of me making a mistake. Let's keep it narrative. We get 6 attacks with the rotary cannon. We need 5s to hit. Let's see what happens. We hit once, but it's an extra sustained hit, so it's actually hit twice. These are strength 6 against toughness 6. We need 4s. Now you will notice that I've changed my dice to my Votann dice because the Votann weren't too happy that I was using the same dice as the Ultramarines due to the anonymity between the 2 defending sides. So let's resolve these then. We need 4s. Ugh, yeah. Teaches them for moaning, doesn't it? Then have the L7 missile launcher, and it's going to use its focus profile simply because of the highest strength and D6 damage output. It needs 4s to hit. It hits. Strength 9 against toughness 6. We need 3s. Wounds. This is AP -2, so we're going to have to use our 4-up Wraithform save. Let's see what happens. It saves. The Wraiths aren't for moving. Having been unsuccessful with the Hearthkin warriors, we're now moving on to the Thunderkin, who were successful with their overwatch against the Wraiths. I'm hoping they have a similar hit rate, now firing at their full profile, which has been increased by the Iron Master, who is wearing a multispectral visor, giving them a +1 to hit. So, rather than hitting on 4s, we're hitting on 3s. Let's see what happens. The bolt cannons are sustained hits 1, so 6s are going to give us an additional hit. Okay, natural rolls of 6. So these here need to be removed. Okay, so we've hit 2, 4, 6, 7 times we've hit. These are strength 6, I believe, against toughness 6. We need 4s. We've wounded 4 times. These are AP -1. So it's the equivalent of their armor save or vulnerable save. No difference. So I think these 4s on the dice. Let's see what happens. Oh, so the one wounded by the Grim is dead, and a second one is killed, leaving 1 Wraith behind. Ouch. Sagittas autocannon is going to fire at that remaining Wraith just to kill them off. It gets 6 attacks with its autocannon. These are strength 7, AP -1, cause 2 damage. Let's see what happens. So we hit 5 times. We need 3s to wound. We wound 3 times. 3 4-ups. Saves 1, but loses 4 wounds and is dead. The Thunderkin on the platform are going to target the Tomb Blades with the Judgment token, giving them a +1 to hit. So we need 3s on the dice with their bolt cannons. Let's take away the misses. Add 1 because I've sustained. So in total we have hit 10 times. These are strength 6 against toughness 5. We're going to need 3s. There we are, we have wounded 8 times. The Tomb Blades are going to receive the benefits of cover thanks to the Stagmite in front of them, limiting the vision of the Thunderkin. So rather than needing 5s on the dice to save, they need 4s. They lose 5 in total. 1 Tomb Blade is left. The Pioneers are turning on their roll bar searchlight to illuminate the Tomb Blades who took damage from the Hecaton Land Fortress blast. They're firing with the white dice their Magna Coil autocannons, which are normally 3 hits, 3 attacks each, with no additional ability on their profile. However, I'm using Ancestral Sentence, so they become sustained hits 1, could be handy, and the rotary cannon, the High Lads rotary cannon, is normally sustained hits 1, well that's going to be sustained hits 2 with that stratagem. So let's get rolling. Well, okay. Remove those 2s because that doesn't help. Remove those 2s there. Remove. So we've hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we've hit 16 times. 6 with the High Las rotary cannon, thanks to sustained hits 2. The increase in sustained fire is caused by Ancestral Sentence. And we've hit 10 times with the Magna Coil autocannons. Let's start with the coil autocannons first. We need with these, in fact, we need 3s across the board. The Magna Coils are strength 7, the rotary cannons are strength 6, so we need 3s. Let's see what happens. Take these away, take that away. In total, we have hit 4 times, we've wounded, 4 times with the Magna Coil autocannons. These are AP -1, meaning the Tomb Blades need 5s to save. They do cause 2 damage each. So for every failed saving throw, 1 is going to die, and 1 of them has already taken a wound. So 3 are saved. The one that's wounded is dead, and the second one is dead. We now have the High Las rotary cannon, which only causes 1 wound, unfortunately, and is AP -1 as well. So we need to make 5 saving throws of 5. 1 saved, that kills another, and another. So there is 1 Tomb Blade left. Again, this could be another significant turning point. The Necrons have taken further damage. The spear tip is broken. Let's see what happens next in the Votann charge phase. We know the Hearthguard are going to be overwhelmed without reinforcements, so the Thunderkin here are going to charge into the Necron warriors. The Hearthkin are in serious trouble. They need support from these Chthonian Berserkers. They will charge into the Necron warriors, but to get into a decent position, there will be a 2-inch penalty over that broken pipe. Let's see if the Chthonian Berserkers make it. They do not. We better re-roll. Crikey. No.
They will not support the Hearthguard. Ugh. I'm concerned about these Locust Destroyers being left to wait and fire. The 5 Chthonian Berserkers here are going to charge into them, but they are going to attempt Overwatch. Out the Pioneers with a 6. I don't think they're going to make it. With a final Tomb Blade to destroy, it makes sense for the Pioneers to charge it and hopefully sever its circuitry with their plasma blades. Out the Pioneers with a 6. I don't think they're going to make it. The 3 surviving Chthonian Berserkers get 3 attacks each. Let's see what happens. They hit on 4s, so that's not bad going at all. These are strength 9 with their concussion hammers against toughness 6, so they need 3s. That's really good going. So potentially every 2 failed saving throws is going to kill one of the Locust Destroyers. Their armor save is 3 up. It's AP minus 2. So let's see what happens. 1 saved, 2 Locust Destroyers are destroyed. Carl Berwin and his remaining Hearthguard Protector are going to counter strike so that they can attack the Necron warriors first. They wouldn't have had to do this if the Chthonian Berserkers had made it into combat. This is a pinnacle moment really, I think, for the Votann, because potentially they could lose their Warlord here. So let's see what happens. Carl Berwin gets 4 attacks. He's using his Forge Wart Plasma Sword. He gets 4 attacks with it. It's strength 5. The champion, well, he's going to be the champion by the end of this battle if he survives, of that unit, gets 3 attacks. And he's using his Plasma Blade Gauntlet. They need 3s to hit. Oh my goodness me. From that dice roll you can tell morale isn't good. Strength 5, strength 6, we need 3s. 2 wounds. These are AP minus 2 each. So 6s for the Necrons. I'm sorry if I sound a bit despondent. I probably know what's coming. So 2 of the Necrons fall to the ground. Scorpec Destroyers are fighting next rather than the Necron Warriors because I don't want the Hearthguard and the champion they are protecting to hit the Scorpec Destroyers. I am going to activate their Plasma Sight as well so they get devastating wounds, but all damage caused by the Scorpec's hyperphase weapons is reduced by 1 because of Oath Band Bodyguard. Now let's get rolling, and we need 3s to hit. So already we have caused 3 mortal wounds. Handy. Let's remove those. We now need strength 7 against toughness 6. We need 3s. So in total, we have wounded the Hearthguard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. That kills 1 of the Hearthguard, and another one takes a wound. We now have 6 to save. I'm going to roll these individually because as soon as one has failed, it then goes on to the champion who's in that unit, because he will be all that's left. So let's see what happens. Saved. These are AP -2, so we're using the Hearthguard's 4-up crest. Invulnerable save, we field crest. Saved. It needs to save all of these to save the champion. Saved. Doing well so far. In fact, if it saves this one, the champion cannot die. Saved. So the remaining Hearthguard dies. Let's see if the champion takes a wound. It doesn't. So the 2 Hearthguard are dead, and the champion remains in combat with the Skorpek destroyers. Champion with his Dark Star Spear now gets an opportunity to hit back. He gets 6 attacks. Let's see what happens. He hits 6 times. Let's see how many wounds he causes. Strength 6 against toughness 6 is going to need 4. He wounds 4 times. AP of the Dark Star Spear is -2. They cause 2 damage, so every 2 failed is a Skorpek destroyer gone. We save 1. 1 dies, and 1 is on 1 wound. In part 2 of Tomb World's finale, Lord Narmer will continue his onslaught to eradicate the Ultramarines and Votann on his Tomb World. The Tomb has indicated that 38% of the enemy forces have been destroyed. He is also aware that his spear tip has been shattered, and to reinstate the tip to liberate Tomb World, he must deploy his battle line units to continue the onslaught of the enemy, and in doing so complete the full activation of Tomb World.
We face 2 enemies on 2 fronts, but they will not deny us. My legions are holding, the enemy is contained, and my reinforcements are endless. We control our fate. There will be no survivors. There will be no distress calls. There will be no enemy ships in orbit. We shall ascend from our millennium-long slumber to reclaim our Tomb World.